Welcome to the Awakened Human Podcast, the place to be for highly progressive yet extremely grounded intuitive guidance, energetic support, metaphysical tools, and higher consciousness for highly successful, ambitious, soul-centered visionaries and leaders like you who want to make a global impact and achieve your highest fulfillment by aligning with your soul's true divine agenda and your role in God's plan of lighted creation, and by utilizing your divine gifts, talents, and abilities from the higher realms. We do this by working with the non-physical realms of higher guidance, energy, intuition, and powerful metaphysical tools for healing and transformation. We understand that the real change and transformation that's being called for on planet Earth and in our own lives and our own businesses doesn't come from outside of us, but rather from within. And that the change that we desire to experience in our lives and in our world requires us to change from the inside. I'm your host, Lori Ann Spagna. I'm a best-selling author, spiritual catalyst, intuitive, energy worker, ascension guide, multidimensional channel, animal communicator, visionary, lightworker, and luminary. I have dedicated my entire professional life to helping thousands and thousands of humans and animals all over the world in service and contribution to the light, which is the expansion, the upliftment, the evolution of humanity, to awaken, to uplift, and to align with our true divine source, which exists within each and every one of us. It is my passion, joy, and purpose to share this information, energy, and consciousness with you. Thank you so much for being here today and for sharing time with me. Let's get started.
Well, hello, you magnificent being, you radiant one. Thank you for being here today. I'm so excited about this time with you today. I'm looking forward to this podcast and to sharing with you, and I'm hoping that this will serve you. Serve your most benevolent best, as always. So today we're going to talk about how to be selfish. And I think this is a really good follow-up to last week's podcast, which was all about what to do when or before burnout hits. The truth is that if you know how to be selfish, burnout likely won't hit. So I want to address this topic area of being selfish because in our society, we have really been, I think, kind of fooled into being completely unselfish. And I think it's a really important message for people in my community because the people that I work with, typically, we're heart-centered and we tend to be very ambitious, mission-driven, service-oriented people who really care about the world, care about our community, care about others, and are givers. We're givers at heart. So it's likely that this is something that you have dealt with in the past and that you have maybe not mastered yet in terms of being selfish. And it's very likely that you may have also had to confront the guilt or the shame that may have been placed on you by others who might have tried to some way manipulate you. This has happened recently for a number of my students who have come to me in ways where either their families or their spouses or even their students were kind of manipulating them a little bit to get more out of them because they knew they could try to manipulate because they had learned over time that my clients were givers, my clients and my students. And it's certainly happened in my life too, where I put others first and I put the needs of others first. So I completely understand this. And I had to learn the art of being selfish. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So I hope this will be helpful. First of all, when we talk about the art of being selfish, I'm curious what comes up for you. And what comes to your mind with that word selfish? Because to me, it sounds like a very sort of like bad word or a negative word, or as if there's something wrong with being selfish. And again, we're trained in our society, especially if you look at the way humans have been brought up until recent years, I'd say up until the most recent few years, the society has been run by narcissistic paradigm where it's all about the leaders of any group or organization that needed to survive and were willing to cause harm or detriment to others just so they could survive. If you grew up in a narcissistic family, you might have had parents or parental figures who, for their own survival, they were more self-focused. You might have dated partners who were narcissistic and were always trying to get out of you what they wanted or needed. You may have attracted clients or students into your community who were somehow narcissistic and either pointed fingers at you for being that way or tried to somehow manipulate you or control you to try to get what they wanted out of you, right? So being selfish then is something that has been just not taught in our society, because what really was in that place was this kind of I, me, mine mentality that is not healthy selfish. That is more like either narcissism or me, or it's a wounded child kind of archetypical pattern. Me, I, me, mine, my needs, my wants, my desires. And if you were raised with someone like that, then you learned in order to survive, likely you learned in order to survive in your family dynamic or, as a child growing up, that you better put the needs of someone else first, just so that you could survive in a narcissistic world. Now, regardless of whether or not that's your storyline, healthy selfishness, and regardless of what that word selfish evokes for you, what I'm proposing is that healthy selfishness is not only the way out of burnout, which again, listen to last week's podcast if you didn't already, but it's the way to your true happiness and joy. And it's actually the way that you'll be able to help, serve, and contribute in the world in the best ways possible. Why is that? Because of course, if you're taking care of yourself and your needs first, you're no longer going to be one of the people in the world who's most needy, right? The world is pretty much set up into two categories on this. You're either the one who's needy and needs something, or you're the one who's on the side of the givers. Now, if you're on the side of the givers and denying your own needs, then this podcast is for you. And if you're on the side of the needy, then this podcast is for you. Because needy people who learn to be selfish and take care of themselves first won't be so needy. And people who are overgivers, which likely you are if you're in my community, when you learn how to take care of yourself, you won't be constantly over giving, over delivering, overdoing it, and yes, potentially leading to burnout. So healthy selfishness then, therefore, is not about selfishness in a sort of a negative way, me, I, me, mine. I'm putting myself before anyone else to the harm or detriment of another. Healthy selfishness is about saying, I really need to take care of myself and make sure my needs are met so that I'm not needing from everyone and everywhere else in the world. So I'm not a needy person. And also so that I can serve, support, and assist those in my community, whether they're your students, your family members, your loved ones, your animal companions, whomever, your children, so that I can be of service to those I love even better. Because when your needs are met, when you are in charge of meeting your needs, you will not be needy, and you will have that much more to give to others. You will have so much more to give. In fact, you will be astonished. So being selfish in a healthy way is really one of the most important things we can do, as far as I'm concerned, on planet Earth right now, because the truth is there are so many people in the world right now who are in places of need, not just people, but animals, whether it's due to some kind of recent weather disaster, and that's real need, that's survival need. Maybe they don't have food. Maybe their house has been demolished from some kind of storm or fire or tornado, or Maybe they don't have water because of drought or, on and on. Maybe it's an animal who's suffering. Maybe it's a child who's gone into some kind of trauma situation. Maybe your own child is in some kind of physical or emotional or mental breakdown of some kind. These are the people who are in need. And they're in need because we're living in a world of I, me, mine, of narcissism, where we don't take care of one another. So in order to be able to be of service, we have to start taking care of ourselves and get us out of being needy ourselves. So how do we do that? How do we fill up our cup so that our cup runs over, so that we are so full that we have more to give? First is give yourself permission. Give yourself permission. It's okay to be selfish. It's safe to be selfish without harming another. You're worthy and deserving. Say it. I'm worthy and deserving of taking care of myself, of putting myself first, of being selfish in a healthy way with harm to none. You really need to own that and just take it in, breathe it in. When you say it, it's not just an affirmation. It's not just a mantra. You're taking in that substance of truth. It is truth. It is divine truth. Take it in, breathe it in, fill up your whole body with the energy of you're worthy and deserving of putting your needs first. It's possible for you to put your needs first, being selfish in a healthy way, so that you're no longer one of the most needy people on the planet, and so that you actually do have so much more to give, so your cup can runneth over. So take that in, breathe it in, and I'll just add some energy here. For those of you who are willing, we'll just do a nice download on this. Just breathe and receive and allow. Take a breath. It's safe for you to be selfish in a healthy way. And you're worthy and deserving of being selfish in a healthy way. And it's possible for you to care for yourself, put your needs first in a healthy way without harming anyone else. You're worthy, you're deserving, it's possible, and you're capable of this. And this kind of way of living is available to you. Take in the breath of that. It's available to you. It's possible for you, and it's going to allow you to serve, support, and assist those in your world and your community even better. Now, as you breathe that in, I want you to contemplate, if you're willing, what does it mean to you to be selfish? What does that mean to you? And I'm talking about in a healthy way. It's certainly going to include setting up some healthy boundaries. And healthy boundaries, which I'll do a separate podcast episode on that as well, because it deserves its own full 20 minutes or half an hour. But healthy boundaries means saying no sometimes, not because it's bad or wrong to say no, or not because you don't care about a person or the person who you're saying no to, but simply by saying, I just don't think I can meet that need for you, person, at this time. Doesn't even mean no forever necessarily, although it might. It means, a healthy boundary isn't even always saying no. It's saying enough for now. I remember there was a time in one of my classes, and I've always been a person like on retreats. I've gone to like way into the late hours with people, and on readings and calls. I've gone past my own healthy limit and my own healthy boundary more times than I can count in a desire to please and to be of service. And I remember one particular time where I was literally saying to the group, I need to get water. I need to get a drink. I need to use the restroom. And they weren't hearing me. It didn't matter to them that I was saying that. They were still asking. They were still wanting. It was because I wasn't honoring my no, because I didn't learn this. So practicing no in a healthy way and recognizing no doesn't mean no forever. Some of the healthy ways is, I love you. I really want to do this for you. Can we pick up at this again next week? Or can we revisit this a little later? Or right now, I just am not able to meet that need for you. And I'm sorry. I love you. I'm not able to do that at this time. Another healthy way of saying no might be, hey, I would love to consider that. Let me pray on that. Let me meditate on that. Let me sit with that. I've heard your request. I've listened to you. I need a little bit of time with that before I can say yes. That's another way of saying a healthy boundary. Or let me evaluate that and decide what's in the highest interest of all. I say that all the time now because I really do, from the depth of my heart, want what is in the highest, most benevolent best of all, or for most benevolent best of all. So sometimes I'll just say that, well, let me just, whatever's for the highest and most benevolent best is what I'm desiring. I might not even know what it is at that time. So that's a healthy way of saying it. And you can practice this. You can practice this. What does it mean to you to say no, or to say maybe, or to say, let me reevaluate this, or let me pray on this, or let me have a think on this in a healthy way? That's a healthy way of being selfish, of saying no for now, or not yet, or maybe, or yes, but, right? Or yes, and yes, I can do that. However, I can't do that this week. Yes, I'd be happy to do that for you. However, I'll need to get to that later. These are healthy boundaries and healthy ways of being selfish in a healthy way. You're taking care of yourself because you're honestly considering, can I do that or not? This is a healthy boundary. And this is a way of communicating a healthy boundary. All right, I'm going to do another podcast on healthy boundaries because I could spend a lot more time on this. I want to stay focused on this art of being selfish a little bit longer. So be on the lookout for a separate podcast on that topic. But let me stay with this concept of being selfish. What else does it mean to you to be selfish? So sometimes being selfish is making sure you have time to exercise every day, if that's what you choose, or time for some time with your animal companion or your children, making sure you have quality time. And the way you do that is you carve it into your schedule, you put it in there. Whatever's right for you, you literally schedule it in, and you make sure you keep the commitment to yourself to do that, to honor that time, whether it's a walk with your dog, a snuggle with your cat, playtime with your animal companions, or quality time with your children, or time to do homeschooling or homework with them, whatever that is, or taking them to, what their soccer practice or whatever that might be, or quality date night with your spouse or partner. You schedule it and you commit to it. And maybe it's self-care for you. Maybe it's some kind of self-care for you. If it's not exercising or quality time with a loved one, of course that definitely are ways to commit and be selfish, but maybe it's the self-care, like the massage or getting your hair done or whatever it might be for you that is self-care. That's a kind of, being selfish in a healthy way. Look, the way you get selfish is you literally write down a list of all your needs. Write down a list. What do you need? And a great way to consider this is you have your basic, you could look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? But you start with your basic survival needs. I mean, you need healthy food every day. You need water every day. You need a roof over your head. Yes. You need physical touch of some kind or physical care, your physical needs, whatever those might be, whether it's physical touch or hugs or definitely food and water, sleep, survival, basic survival needs. What are those? You got to make sure you're meeting them. Physical movement, exercise, etc. And then you get into your other needs that are more psychological and emotional. You need loving kindness. You need a sense of friendship, camaraderie, connection, community, right? Just start going through, what are your needs? Write it out and then start evaluating, how will you make sure that your needs are met? What are you going to do to make sure that your needs are met? And this is in every case here. I'm not suggesting that you should ever not hope for other people to help meet your needs. Quite the contrary. In fact, I absolutely believe we all need one another. We all need people. And it's so important to make sure you have people to meet your needs. However, I want you to, when you're talking about being selfish, consider all the ways that you can and will meet your own needs, even if that means putting yourself around others in some kind of sacred community or sacred connection so that you can get the socializing and the love and belonging, right? Friendship, family, intimacy, connection that you need, even hugs and smiles, being around community and connection. And I always advocate, of course, being in some kind of mentorship program. So regardless, get a list out of all of your needs, and obviously your survival needs, are going to go first. And most humans, if you're listening to this, most of your survival needs are likely being met, but how are you going to meet those? And how are you going to make sure that you're getting healthy water, healthy breath, healthy food, healthy movement, healthy exercise every day? And then, safety and security. Obviously, you need some form of home, and you need a way to make an income. You need to be able to take care of having your safety and security needs. And then social community connection. Those involve needing other people. What are you going to do? Are you going to get yourself to a prayer group? Are you going to get yourself to Reiki healing circles? Are you going to get yourself to a mentorship program, support groups, counseling, therapy, healing energy, healing sessions, mindset support and coaching? Like, all that stuff is so important. You can't go it alone. So many amazing high vibe people like you possibly are attempting to do it all alone, and that doesn't work. And of course, if you don't have a family, you need social community support people. You can't do it on your own. And even if you do have a family, you need some outside support in that area too. And then there's, of course, the areas of, your own mental and emotional sense of how you think and feel about yourself, your self-confidence, your self-worth, your self-respect, your sense of feeling good about your own self. How are you going to meet those needs for yourself? Of course, that stuff I work on inside of the Sacred Mentorship. I'm sure I've said that already, but you can definitely, this is self-help work 101, right? Developing and cultivating your sense of self-worth and self-value, self-respect, self-care. This is such an important part of being selfish. How will you do that? What are you going to put into place? And then, of course, ultimately, how you will serve others is part of your self-care, but how you serve others cannot happen until you've got everything in place for yourself. So make that list and really start asking, how will I meet these needs for myself? How will I make sure that all of my needs are being met and that I'm taking care of myself so that my cup runneth over, so that I'm filled up, and so that I can really live the quality life that I'm here to live? And I'd like you to play with this idea of what it means to you to be selfish in a healthy way. And I'd like you to play with this concept of that you're worthy and deserving and capable of meeting your needs and taking care of yourself first and foremost. And that if there's anyone in your life who's either guilting you or shaming you for putting yourself first, that maybe you don't necessarily confront them on it, but you just say to them, learn healthy boundaries. And as I said, I'll do a separate podcast on that, and learn healthy ways at managing them, managing their expectations. Because I will tell you, there is nothing worse than being involved with overly demanding people who don't care about your needs. And if you're not being selfish in a healthy way, you will attract people like that to you. You will attract people who are overly demanding, who are entitled, who expect too much. Believe me, it's happened to me. I've had plenty of people over my many years of doing service work who were overly demanding and overly expecting and entitled. And it wasn't until I started to notice the entitlement energy when I really started getting to a deeper level of selfishness. And it took me a long time to work on it. You also have to usually address that part of you that's a people pleaser, even, that wants to please others, because I can tell you I've been through that myself. So healthy selfishness is so important in our world right now, more than ever, because there's so many people in need, so many animals. Mother Earth is in need. So get yourself out of being one of the ones who are needy by really developing and cultivating healthy selfishness for yourself first, so that you can better serve and support others. I really want to support you in this. I so support you in this. And if you want more support, please do reach out through the website or through my website at 𝐿oriSpagna.com, or DM me on Facebook. I'd love to hear from you. There's always more in terms of really elevating yourself and being the magnificence and brilliance of who you are, as you learn how to put your needs first in a healthy way without harming another. It is just a beautiful unfolding happening on Earth right now, as we're all starting to level up and recognize, as we shift out of this old paradigm of I, me, mine, me, and narcissism and serving others to the point of our own harm and detriment and people pleasing, and shifting into the self-love, self-care, self-nurturing, and selfishness in a healthy way that really allows us ultimately to serve the rest of the world and our community, our students, our clients, our family, our loved ones, our animals, in a healthier way. Okay, I hope this has been helpful to you. If it has, please let me know, share and like and offer comments. I love to hear from you. And I'm going to sign off for now. And until next time, I truly am wishing you your most benevolent best. Okay, farewell for now. Bye-bye.
Thanks so much for listening today. If you loved the show and if you benefited in any way, if it helped you to up-level or expand your consciousness, if you gained any new insights or ideas, if it made you think or become more aware, or if there were some strategies or intuition that you may have benefited from in any way, would you please do me 2 easy and simple favors? First, if you would be willing to leave a review, it would mean the world to me. I'd be so grateful. And second, if you're willing to share this show with anyone else who would benefit, you can either post it on your social media or just email it to someone and share it with another person or any other people. It would be so awesome. This kind of thing is so helpful in expanding consciousness on the planet and helping others to benefit from this kind of teaching, which just simply isn't generally readily available in the mainstream. So sharing it really helps others benefit and helps our planet evolve and awaken. Plus, expressing gratitude and generosity in this way will also expand your capacity to give and receive even more. Either way, I just want to say thank you so much for being here and for participating and for sharing, and overall, just for being the magnificent, the spectacular, the brilliant, the fabulous, the wonderful you that you truly are, and for allowing yourself to be the very best version of you today and every day. All my love and gratitude to you.